This is Smile Business Diaries, a DSD podcast. All right, welcome, Jan Kielhorn, Dr. Jan Kielhorn. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
From what I can see, you look like you're on a trip somewhere and on vacation maybe. You're looking good. Can you tell our listeners where you're at and who you are as a person and just kind of set the stage for our listeners here?
Okay, I will do that. So I'm in Belek at the moment, which is a Robinson Club. We do a yearly team event where we go for 1 week with some external lecturers to any place in the world, Morocco, or now it's Turkey, and just to form the team and to have lectures and get them in a different setting. So we overthink all our protocols and how we behave at home, and that's where I am right now. And so I think this is an important part. It looks nice, but it's very important for team building.
Awesome. Yeah, so you're located in the southern part of Germany, your office, correct?
Yeah, that's close to Stuttgart. It's about 40 minutes away from Stuttgart, between Heidelberg and Stuttgart. That's what most people know, I think, of Germany. So in the south, that's where we rated. Yeah.
Yeah, what is it like having an office there? What's the culture, the type of patients you treat in your team? What is it like being a Southern German dentist?
Well, I'm not coming from southern Germany actually, but we did a lot of statistics looking where people situated that have the right amount of budgets for our treatments, where there are a lot of people living there, where there's an infrastructure, having autobahn, of course, having hospitals and schools, where people own a house and have at least 2 cars and all that. So we did a lot of statistics to see where we want to be located. And then we found that spot where we hadn't been before ever. Okay. Just that according to statistics, that's the perfect spot to go. So we just built a clinic on 800 square meters there, just to give it a chance. And luckily it worked out.
Amazing. And what thought process did besides the statistics, as far as like the design of the office and the experience, can you explain how your office operates at the moment?
Well, and we are, my wife and myself, we are coming from big clinics, which are structured having at least 6, 8, 10 chairs and all specialized clinics with a high frequency of patients. So we wanted to have it very structured. That's why we built the building actually to give it the follow up for the patient and how they walk and how they treated and where the rooms are. So everything is designed. So we're not using rooms which have been there. That's why we had to build the building to make that possible. And that's why we made it bigger than you actually would need it, just to create that space and that feeling for the patients and the possibility to adapt to any kind of changes in dentistry. See if you need more digital rooms, if you need more surgical theaters, if you need more waiting area, if you need less waiting area, if you need more reception, less front desk, all that. So we can react to everything because we don't have any walls which could not be moved. So actually, we have an 800 square meter hall, and we can do whatever we want. And that was how we started because we didn't right know where will be dentistry in the future.
Yeah, and how has that worked out for you now that you're sort of in the future a little bit, right?
Well, it worked out fine, but still there are a lot of changes. See, starting with DSD was changing. You need something to take photos, of course. You need a room to talk to the patient, presentation area. So it's changing, still changing a lot. So actually, you have to, what you did yesterday will be different tomorrow. So you can't stop on that. So whenever you make it very nice, you change that and reconstructed the clinic just 4 years ago and put in a lot of money on that and said we have to keep on doing that because otherwise you will not be on the top list anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did a little research on you before.
God, oh my God.
You have a really impressive clinical background. I want to learn more about that a little bit. You're an oral surgeon first,
Yes.
or okay? And your wife, what type of dentistry is she? Right.
She's a pediatrician, so she's a child specialist.
Oh, well, interesting. That's a great dynamic. How does that operate in your office working together?
That was the perfect deal. When we did that, we were the only ones doing that. In the end, now everybody's copying that system because what it does is when you treat the children, of course, then the people have a high trust in your clinic because children are the most important part of the family. And when that happens, the mother doesn't want to go somewhere else because, of course, she wants an appointment, with her kids. And she's taxi anyway all the time for her kids. So she makes an appointment there. So she will stay in the clinic and then she will tell her husband, you have to go there. So that's why you get the whole family. And if they pay for the children already for good treatment, they have trust in that if you pay for expertise, it's worth it. Then also, you don't have to tell them that it will be worth it. They trust in you. So if I tell them my treatment will, of course, be not the cheapest treatment, but probably the best treatment, then they have also the trust in me, which my wife built up. So that was a very successful story.
Wow. And do you find it challenging? Because, the cultures amongst different countries obviously are different. Um, and the German culture is very unique to us in the States and in Spain as well. Do you find it being challenging or different in any way, with the patient base that you have? Or is it easier
Compared to the US,
compared to
um,
the world, really?
well, I can't Spain. I know the US. Well, when I compare it to the other countries, Germany is a bit more tough because the problem is that um, we really can't choose the patients we treat. You're obliged to treat any patients, and actually, you're obliged to offer him every treatment if it's full on national health systems or if it's in private. And that really is not as easy to make a protocol like a full DSD clinic. Like in the US, we could say, no, you have to pay $200 to get in there, the entry fee. And this is my protocol. And if you don't follow it, you're not my patient. You cannot do that in Germany. They say, no, I don't give anything about that. I don't want to be treated away. I hold my toothpaste treated. Okay. I just want with national health pays. You have actually to do that. So that makes it a bit more difficult, of course, to have a reputation that only people come to you who say, okay, this is a high class treatment, and to get rid of people who don't want that kind of treatment. So it's a tour d'horizon. So that's very, very difficult
Yeah. Yeah.
in the aesthetic, especially in the aesthetic treatments.
Yeah, so I just wanna make sure I understood right. You have the national health system, but your office, you can still have your own private
Yes.
pricing and everything, outside. That's good. Yeah, do you find that you have lost a lot of patients by going that direction?
No, no. When we started 20 years ago, we just did full ceramic. Everybody said, okay, you want metal crowns. We had to compromise him somehow out of the clinic, okay, without him going somewhere and saying, this doctor will not treat me.
Right.
That is the game in Germany. So, but we said, no, I only will do full ceramic. So I have no amalgam, okay. I will only do full arch. If the bite is not right, I will not give you a single crown. Without periodontitis treatment, I will not give you crowns at all. Without vitamin D or whatever, or diabetes, whatever, I will not treat you. This is medicine and dental. This is both. We did that. And in the beginning, it was, of course, tough because we sent a lot of people away. But the people who brought us, they brought us, of course, other people trusted in us. And so now we developed that reputation that only people will come who already know what we're going to do with them.
Hello, I'm just taking a quick break from this podcast interview to tell you how you can get started with DSD. If there was anything that our guest has mentioned that strikes a chord with you, or you are curious about becoming a DSD clinic, I encourage you to book a call with me. This is a 30-minute, no-obligation information sharing session in which I can answer your questions about DSD and discuss your options based on your unique circumstances. The link to schedule a call with me can be found in the notes on this episode. Now, back to the interview.
Yeah, I find this so fascinating because in the States, there's a lot of pushback when coming from DSD, even, when you recommend, hey, invest in your office, invest in the experience and, of course, your CE and your knowledge and your skill set. But there's a lot of pushback because this concept of, what's working for me now will work for me tomorrow. And we don't have in the States this national health system that requires and mandates, that we offer at this price and at this type of dentistry. Um, and it's nice to see that, even with extra barriers in another country, and we'll talk more, I think, about, the paperwork involved and everything else that's on top of how you have to practice in Germany. You're showing the proof of it that, regardless of the barriers around you, the experience that you give the patient, the quality of the dentistry overcomes that, right? And it does work. So I think that's wonderful that you've been able to show this firsthand in a country that, just puts those barriers up for you. So that's wonderful. Now, when you are working with these patients, are they difficult in any way because of I've heard that there's a lot of paperwork that goes involved in with treating in Germany. Can you explain all that?
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork. The problem is that we really have to, because of the national health system, so mainly it's a mixture between a private treatment and some money they get from the national health system. So we have to have a lot of papers which we have to hand in, and they have to sign. And it's not just a contract. I want this treatment. I sign it, finish it. That's it. But we have to get the improvement of the national health and all that. So that's a lot of work behind the scenes. That makes it complicated for the staff, and that's why I think the most people are working is actually in the back office. Okay, because that's a lot. Yeah, it gets more and more and more and more and more to do that. That's a great barrier of extra, but it works. We're used to it, but it's not the way I want it.
Of course, of course. We work with what we have, right? So with that, I mean, if majority of the team wants to be in the back of the office, how is it for you in the hiring process to find the right people for the front?
Well, we have had not the best experience with hire people who are already trained, because we train them differently from what is traditional in Germany. We take all startups, so we take all the learners, and we treat them. And usually, you learn 3 years for that job in Germany. And then actually you should know everything you do, but most assistants don't do that because they are not trained by the doctors. The doctor says, no, I can only do that. I can only scan. You can't scan. I have to change the abutment. I have to change the gingival former. You can take the sutures out. Okay. They all don't do that. So we always had, because I come from a clinic where this was usual, I give a lot of trust to my assistants. So we train them, and even if they start up, in 1 year they can sit all the surgery, they can take out the sutures, they can of course scan with any system. They should. And so they are very self-dependent. So we all train our own stuff. And each doctor works with at least 2 to 3 assistants, because you should never turn your head of the patient. So every instrument should be given you into your hands, and your hand should not move than 10 centimeters. And then you're ready to concentrate it, and you're very fast. And if then parallel to that, all your assistant staff is scanning, taking out sutures, changing gingival formers, doing try-ins, then you're very, very fast because you have a parallel work. And then you can do a lot of patients, a lot of good work, and still have the time to do it perfectly.
Right. It sounds like you have a lot of like experience in the systems that you've implemented in your office. Can you just elaborate more on how the office runs right now, as far as what systems you're using, and just standard operating procedures that are must-haves for your practice today?
According to the kind of treatments we use, or
Yeah, we could talk about that. I noticed that you get a lot of the natural restorations from us, and I'm just curious how this has impacted your office overall. What made you change to go with DSD systems or any systems that you've encountered and implemented, and how they've helped really overall.
okay, the biggest task was that, of course, you have a lot of things you learn the hard way in dentistry. So one thing I learned the hard way in dentistry is that staff is only a snapshot. Okay, so the staff is dynamic. The staff will not last forever. So I only believe in protocols and training, because if I believe in protocols and training, I can take everybody off the street, okay, and I can just implement him in that system. Say that is the protocol. Just really do that. I can go on working. Okay, there's a replacement for everybody. Okay, there's not a single one, even me, that could not be replaced. So as long as the training is good and the protocols are good, you can have a high level of dentistry. So that's what I believe in. That's what we learned the hard way, of course, that that's perfect stuff. Only she can do that, and I'm dependent on that. No, we're not dependent. We're dependent on protocol and training. Everybody knows how to do that. Everybody has to know that. Okay, so I can take every stuff in the clinic, and everybody can do everything, of course. Okay, if you don't invest in training, and you have bad assistants and they stay, that's a problem. If you invest in training, they leave. Okay, but if they stay, that's a problem. If they don't know what to do. So that's why we really believe in that protocols. Everybody's knowing what to do, and everybody does it the same way. So every room is equal. In every room, the instrument is at the same spot. Okay, there's always the same material. They all stand at the same side. They always taking the same hands to give you something. So it's a very high training, like a military training, in a good sense. But it makes it so fast and so perfect, and it's just exchangeable. So one goes out of the room, next one comes in. You will not notice that you have a different system.
Amazing. How did you come to terms with that? Was this something you set up early on, or did it progress?
Well, I was trained. I was trained in the clinic of the inventor of the dental Sive system, which is Dr. Dieter Hessler. He's a very renowned maxillofacial surgeon, and learned two things of him. The one thing I learned is that you can be a perfect surgeon and a perfect prosthodontist, which people still deny today. That is possible because he was a maxillofacial and was still such a good prosthodontist, unbelievable. Okay,
Right.
so I learned that, and that was the start of my career, saying I will do both. And he showed me the magic of having all the tools in your hand. Okay, and he had a highly trained staff, which was amazing. Everybody thought has at least 2 to 3 assistants, which was new to me at that spot. Okay, and that they were trained to do it exactly the same way. And then it was so good because you were so concentrated just on the work. You don't have to look after your assistant. You then look at the where's that instrument, and nobody's running out and get it from a different room or a different drawer. Nothing of this will happen. And so I said, when I open my own clinic, I will, of course, do that. I will only take young staff and I will train them. I will not take trained staff because turnaround is not possible and takes a lot of energy. Just starting new is so easy to do.
Oh, so you had 2 to 3 assistants per doctor.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing differentiator, I believe. I've never heard that. So I can imagine how helpful that is to have so much help in one room. Um, are there any other mentors that you can say have impacted you in your career?
Yeah, of course. Professor Gutowski, which is, I think, one of the most brilliant prosthodontists of all time in Europe, at least. He learned me that not to do something fancy, just do something that works. Okay, just do it that it works. Don't do it fancy. Don't do it for the beauty of the X-ray. Don't do it for the beauty of whatever photographs, okay, or whatever, or that it looks good on in the room what you do, or how you behave. Just it works. It may look messy, whatever. If it works, it's good. And he said, if it works, you're right. So he taught me to not believe in traditional protocols, or to question them. Okay, to say, okay, we've been done this for 20 years. Maybe it's 20 years false. Okay, maybe it was not right for 20 years anyway. So he said, question it. Because if it works, you must do something right. Okay, a doctor has a clinic, people coming in, they come back, you must do something right. So just look at these people, see what they do, copy it. Okay, it might work in your hands, it might not work in your hands, but question traditional protocols. And that helped me a lot because I was a sort of, they call me when I was a dance supply lecturer, they call me the implant hooligan because I was always saying do it differently. Say, where's the evidence based that said it works? I'm just a private clinician. It works. You can do it. I don't know if it works in your hands, but it works in my hands. Okay, it's not written. Okay, just try it. So that is what I learned from Professor Gutowski. That was a great impact. So Dr. Hessler and Professor Gutowski was the main impact. And the last impact, of course, was then when the pandemic came in, the COVID came in Germany, and the mood in the country was very bad. And we were really forced to shut down completely because we were not important for the health system, which the German government said. And they said because of the aerosol, we should all be shut down and all that. was a very difficult time. And in that time, something very strange happened. I was always looking at DSD, of course, and a Christian Coachman, which I know from the far back as a technician. And I said, okay, DSB, yeah, might be, but no time going to Brazil, whatever. I don't know. And then it happened that she brought the first DSD one to Hamburg. I think it was Hamburg, to Hamburg or somewhere. And it was allowed during COVID. Said, okay, just get out of here. This is all crazy. Okay, I'm going to do that. And despite that bad mood and every people looking, at how to survive, this energy and this enthusiasm, creating smiles and this spirit, okay, was still there. And I said, oh my God, okay, this is just so good what we do. Fuck the pandemic. And I said, this is so good. And that's really, light that fire again. And so I'm so thankful for that I said, I'm a believer. That's just like, um, in that movie where I said, I'm a believer, I see the light, Blues Brothers, just going the church, say, I see the light, I'm a believer, I'm a believer. And so, okay, so I will just follow that. I will follow that and run against the wall. I don't even care. I just do that and see where it goes. I don't think too much. I just do it and see what gets out of it. And that was a good way to do it. And I'm still very thankful for that and for that spirit and inspiration, because we did a lot of that consulting or emotional dentistry, but not in that kind of protocol and structure. And that gave me structure because, I'm more that a working ant. I'm a creative person. I'm somebody, can work 24 hours, no problem. But it gave me structure and more that, and that's really boosted my client.
That's amazing. And I find it fascinating that, you're such a high level clinician already. And I believe even before you were introduced to DSD. So it's interesting that you still found DSD to be so helpful, because again, I hear from people that it's like, oh, I'm totally fine. Everything's working. Everything's great. But you don't know what you don't know. Right. And until you're in it, sometimes you don't realize. But you were able to put the pieces together in the course, it sounds like, or maybe a little before, and know this was the direction that you wanted to head with your systems at that point. Can you elaborate a little bit more on, what was it that stood out to you specifically from the course itself and the system of DSD, and how it's really helped you? Because again, you're one of our greatest customers of our veneers, our natural restoration veneers. So I see that you use it a lot in your practice, and it would be really curious to know exactly how that works out for you and how it's different from before.
Well, the difference is we were trained a lot by European, aesthetic specialists, and all they do is, of course, they're doing a waxed up, a mock up. It was not 3D, of course. It was not printed. That's all coming now. It was a lot of handwork. It's for obsessed maniacs. I'm working 12 hours every day. I'm not a fan of doing models and coloring models after that and spending more time in that. I'm not. I do it myself, kind of thing, which is very popular in the US. I do my own veneers and will color them. I said, oh my God, okay, good for you. I need quality time with my family. You can color your veneers. I pay somebody for it. So that was different, of course, that we are trying to do a lot of handwork, to be analytic, creative, to do a lot of stuff yourself. And what actually the magic of DSD is, first of all, given doing that emotional stuff. Of course, we're doing a mock-up, but putting the mock-up or the test drive in the middle of it or in the start of it, saying that is to put the end first, and I've been doing a lot of navigated implantology, and there we said we're doing a backward planning, but nobody was talking about backward planning in aesthetics. Okay, so that is actually backward planning. We just define what it is completely with a bite, with everything, with auto, not just saying that is looking good. I'm just aesthetic. I'm just an endodontist. I'm just doing that. See, I'm just doing the functional stuff. No. Yeah, that we define the full final result, and then we go backward. What can we do? What can I do? What I have to transform? If I have to refer that to another doctor, I can tell him what I want. Okay, not like in the old times where you call the orthodontist and say, a little bit more to the left. Can you shift a little bit more to the left? It's not enough for my veneer. Okay, that's stupid. I'm drawing on models. So here you have a digital workout. They know exactly where to put it. It's good for the cooperation of doctors, interdisciplinary, and to put that in the front, that is a different setting, and to do that strictly all the time. Okay, and then you see that even people understand where you said, okay, that's not a video patient. And now you have been arrogant. Doctors are always a little bit arrogant and say, okay, they don't have the money, they're not aesthetic patients, they're too old, or whatever. Okay, that is not the truth. The truth is you have to tell them what's wrong, and they have to decide. It's not your job to decide. It's not your job. So to show them what actually is lacking off, and they say, oh my God, nobody told me that. Okay. Oh my God, of course. And you will be amazed. People give money somewhere, and pay for it. Where say, okay, I don't have so much money for a minute. I say, oh, let me think about it. Okay. So amazing. And that really changed a lot, despite we've been doing a lot of, first talking to the patient in a separate room. We did that for all the time. Okay. We never talked to a patient about treatment in the treatment room. We never talked about paper in the treatment room. If there's a new patient, okay, we got to know him in a meeting room, and then we meet him and we got to know each other, and we're talking about his wishes. We did that all the time. That was what separates us. If there's paperwork, we take our time at night, late after all the treatment, and I sit with the patient 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours. He can have all my time, and we will talk to him, and he appreciated it. I take that time. And then when I do the treatment, I don't have to say anything. Then trust me 100%, I can just work. We did it all the time. But, putting the end in the front and showing them what to do gave it a boost. That's actually what was missing it. And no matter what you do, if you do it as a standard or if you do it European techniques, it doesn't matter. And they changed it. It's a protocol. And as I said, I believe in the protocols because you will lose everything. If you have a career that's long enough, you will have seen everything. Okay, but if you have a structure, you will not lose that. And that was the main take-home message from Christian, I guess. And the second is that, of course, you can do beautiful veneers on platinum foil. We have a beautiful technician, which is Di Lorenzen, Reicher Di Lorenzen in Hamburg. He was one of the best veneer people ever. With platinum foil and all that crap. But that's not for the masses. Why is it? And you have to have a very perfect bite, no praxis, and it will break. Okay, it's not, of course, not Emacs. And then to learn that's all about shape and value, and that Emacs can look very nice in the mouth if you do it the right way. And that's for a lot of cases. There was something different. And said, okay, see, you can do a very good work, very structured. You can open high aesthetics to more people. That changed a lot. That changed a lot from doing just, I'm a high-class blend foil, highly specialist, to I can make perfect smiles. Okay, don't worry about it. And you won't break any Emacs veneer and all that. So that was a changer.
Amazing. You have so much insight in a lot of different subjects of dentistry. I'm curious to know from you, what is something that if you could pick one thing in dentistry to change, what would it be?
The biggest topic would be that I try to be digital all my life. Okay, I couldn't be digital because of our government to some aspects. Okay, because we had to sign that. You can't do a digital signature under that and all that crap. Okay, so I'm not full digital. Okay, but for the digital workflow and digital dentistry, I would say that it shouldn't be allowed for the companies to block interfaces, because we would be far more advanced in digital dentistry if companies like, if it's Dentsply Sirona, or if it's Straumann, if it's Itero, or if it's Esper, whatever, if they wouldn't block the interfaces for money reasons. That should be forbidden. Okay. Actually, if it's SciComm data, all the data actually is belonging to the patient, and he has a right on having that. But still, companies are making it very difficult to get that data out of it or to share it without lose of quality. Yeah. So that I would change. I would say you're not allowed to that. That is SciComm STL data. It has to be given out. It has to be able to be exported to any system. Okay. Every system has to be able to read it. Also on Cone Beam. It's just, it's an absolutely no-go that one Cone Beam can't be read, by the other software, and you have to have a special software or viewer. Should be forbidden. Okay, that's all patient data. And just for many reasons, there should be a rule not to do that, because that is actually blocking development. We have so much printers and all that, and we have so much workarounds That costs us a lot of money. And actually, the only question on DSD meetings is, how do you do that? What's your workaround? How can you do that? Or asking Angelo, can I get that data out somewhere? And how do we do that? I wanted to have it on Exocad. And even DSD has to use 3 softwares, pro softwares, just to make the magic work it does. That should be forbidden. That I would change immediately.
Now, that's really shocking, to be honest, because my perception of Germany is that you guys are cutting edge technology at all times, and that may be the case, but I had no idea that there were rules behind it or hidden laws that wouldn't allow you to use it to its fullest potential.
No, it's like the companies block it for many reasons. If you look Dance by Sirona, it's a closed shop. So closed shop means, okay, if you buy all the machinery, of course you can do that. But if not, you cannot.
Can only use a little. So I mean, with what's here now, AI and augmented reality and everything coming out, what is your idea, your opinion on that, and how do you think that's going to affect Germany and in your practice?
Um, I think all that artificial intelligence will be very important. We're already using that for the documentation. So all our DVTs or cone beam, as you say, are first looked at by, of course, artificial intelligence. To that we not oversee any kind of aspect of that X-ray, because sometimes you don't have just the time, and it's so perfect, it works perfectly. Yeah, okay. Also, okay, enamel clinic in South Africa is using it. We're using it. That's perfect for AI. Second thing is that if we have plans which are not signed yet and all that, we also have AI searching for that and automatically writing WhatsApp to the patient saying, do you need more information? This is your treatment plan. Have you got everything you want? We need your signature and all that. So we have AI using the follow-up on treatments. It's all done fully by AI. Okay, that is very important for us too. So that's where AI gets into it. Where I would like AI to go is, of course, analytic more function that it works together, of course, like Mojo or all the functional aspects of bite registration. But still, it's not working together with everything. That's again that the interfaces are not open enough. Okay, because of course, actually, it should just make the Mojo should work its own. It should analyze the bite and should make you a suggestion. That is possible. It's just not wanted. Okay, that is one problem. And the second thing I would like to have is when Google Glass came out. I was the first investor in Google Glass. Unfortunately, it was not developed any further. Because Google Glass would have been perfectly to implement cone beam data during surgery on the patient. Means actually that you implement radiographic data into your site during surgery. But they should use it for professional business, because it's easy to just implement. Every pilot has that. Okay, it's military technique. It's easy. In every jet helmet, you implement that. Okay, navigation and all that. You could also do that for surgeons, and surgery would be so far better if you have all the data. You don't look at any screens, and you see it all inside. That would be perfect to do.
Yeah. It's always seemed that, dentistry falls behind medicine and is always a little later in, their advancements. I mean, how do you see this playing out? Do you believe that one day we will be fully digital in our offices and in our workflows? And
Well, I really hope for it. The problem is that we are niche. We just, how many dentists there are? I don't know, 2,000 that really work on that class in Germany. Okay, that's it. So actually, that's a niche. Nobody wants to invest it. That's the problem why we get a lot of things so late. The first navigation templates for implantology were Materialize. Materialize is a medical company that hasn't been developed for dentistry. It was just misused for dentistry. That's how navigation came up. So we always will be late. That's why my biggest suggestion to everybody starting in a clinic is be a first starter, early adopter. Take when there's new technology, grow up with it. Just use it, and you will learn it through using it, and you will make it better. If we don't do that, okay, we will always be behind. If we wait till something works, that is history already. Okay. We have to say, there's a new machinery there. I have to use it tomorrow. We have to invest to that. If you only look at the money, that is the end of it. Okay. If you said, no, I will do this, it's only 20 more years, my x-ray is still good. Say, no, don't do that. Okay. There's another possibility that can do more, invest in it. Okay. You will have more fun. You'll be highly motivated. You get more patients to it. And as a doctor, I think you're obliged to do the best possible treatment. Okay, you're obliged. Otherwise, you shouldn't be a doctor. You should be I don't know, work somewhere else in Walmart or I don't know. Okay. So you're obliged to do that. Same thing as medicine, I think we call it Zahnmedizin in Germany. So it's dental and medicine. Okay. What about the medicine part? Okay. That's the most neglected part. So before we do surgery on you, you have to prove to me, or I will test it, that you have at least 60, 65 vitamin D. Then you have no diabetes, that you have to sign that you drink at least 2 liters water 3 to 4 weeks before the bigger surgery, and all that. We have to be more medical. We have to more blood analysis. We have to do more IV, which a lot of people do, like K2 and whatever. A lot of DSD people already do that, and we do that. So I think it should be more nutritional. Is a big topic, nutritional coaching. To get the patient, because if you see a patient with periodontitis, it's actually you are diagnosing, okay, something the body has, okay, so it's an illness, okay, so you have actually to see what is wrong with the body. And the most doctors, they will not find the problem because they don't see the periodontitis. They don't check the mouth for anything. And you have to check the immune system because you could not treat him without saying, okay, first, you have to be healthy. Otherwise, I will not be able to help you. And that is neglected. And we should be allowed to do more medicine. And medicine should be blended as a must, as a prerequisite for if you do surgery, okay, you can't do that. We have one doctor, University of Frankfurt, which is a great guy on fibrin, on PGRF membranes and all that, on all blood products using during surgery. And he's very strict. So if the people don't have the right immune system, we will not do surgery at all. And that is the right topic, because he's seen if he takes fibrin from the patient and they haven't had enough water the last weeks, you will not get enough fibrin. The fibrin is not good quality and all that, of course. So it should be more medical part in it. We should do more medical treatment or medical analysis, which is interacting with our dental treatment.
Absolutely. Is that the direction you see yourself going, that you are
Of course.
more?
Well, that's longevity. That's coming. That's also longevity. You can buy aesthetics. You buy aesthetics. Then it goes to beautiful teeth. Then it comes to healthy. Then it comes to lip advancement. Then it comes to Botox and hyaluronic. Okay. Then it comes to longevity, which is a big topic. And actually, it's not just aesthetic or just Instagram aesthetics. It's actually doing a great gain for the patient. So that's what you should offer. As a doctor, we see the patient so often. No doctor sees the patient 4 times or 3 times a year. We do, because they come for professional cleaning. So of course we do the testing. Yeah, we can do the testing. They get a point with the doctor. It takes, I don't know, 4 or 6 months. They go once every 2 or 3 years. That's what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. As far as you've come in your career, is there anything that, looking back, that you would have done earlier or differently?
Of course, I would have loved to have a lot of more time. I wasted a lot of times building actually memories and going worldwide with backpack, which is a great experience. And so actually, I've nothing to lose. I've seen it all, so I feel very good with myself. But if from a professional standpoint, oh my God, I'm doing a lot of endodontics. I will have to go to Pennsylvania for a stress and endo boot camp and do that. Okay. And then I would go to Italy for high training. I was taking root coverage. I would not do the classical courses like we do, where you say, okay, I just get this tour d'horizon, this overview of what we do. Okay. And then you have to do follow-up courses and that and to learn it. So say who's the best and just go there, no matter what it costs. Just see this guy. I did this with Gutowski, which is really the basis of my success, I would say. But then, when you start working, you don't have the time and you're building up a career. It makes it difficult. But that's what you should do. Go to the best, learn from the best, just sit there and don't believe in your country's protocols, traditional protocols. Because lecturing gave me one thing. I didn't earn more money lecturing than I could earn in my own clinic. Okay, so that is not the thing I did it for. The one thing is, of course, you see countries and you learn people and you have a network that is unpayable. Okay, that's the one reason. The second reason is I have seen soft tissue surgeons in Japan, which are so good and nobody knows them because they would not publish in English because it's not their honor. They only publish in Japanese, and they're not known out of Japan, but they don't care because that is the highest rank they want to have. But they're so good and they have techniques you wouldn't even know. Just because Germany, traditional, all the lectures choose one country, and in one country you always see the same lectures. Actually, you have to look where you go to. Same in Brazil. If you go to Brazil, they're perfect composite technicians, doctors who do direct composite, direct bonding techniques. Nobody knows them here. They all think, oh, the perfect composite. They all coming from Italy. Not true. Brazil has a lot of good people. So that's what you should do. Worldwide looking at, and that is what, of course, YouTube and Instagram gives you, that you see more people doing great stuff. And you should just go there. Just, sit there, pay all the money he wants, just steal with your eyes, as we say. Okay, steal with your eyes and just say, no matter how good you are, there's nothing you can be better the next day.
Right, right. That's a great point. I'm guilty of it myself. I grew up in the field of dentistry in the States, and you're almost conditioned to believe that we're the best. The best education is right here at home, but you're completely right in that. Now, when you look for your CEs or your mentors or any form of education, what is your checkoff list? What is your thought process? Because you said find the best. What is the best to you, and how do you get to that point of knowing, okay, these are the aspects for me to qualify as the best person to go to for this information?
Well, the best is somebody's doing something with a lot of passion. If he believes in what he's doing. He's not doing it, it's nice, but he believes in it, that he burns for it. Okay, say if you look at Christian talking about what he likes, okay, say, I don't give any of the bullshit, but you have to accept that this guy is loving what he's doing. Okay, and that is the spirit. And people who are that, they are never bad. They are never bad. Yeah. Second thing is that you just have to look at the technique and see the outcome. Like Gutowski said, okay, when it works, it's right. So if you see Kelly, okay, and you look at all the people doing recession coverage and pinhole techniques, it's all nice, okay? It's all nice. They can do that case and they can do that case. And they say, okay, case selection is key. You only have to do that and that. And then Kelly says, what is case selection? I don't know this. Case number 3, okay? But he's doing all the cases and they're all 100%. So I say, okay, I'd rather go to Sir Kelly. But Sir Kelly is a person who will yell at you or kick you out the lecture room if you say something bad. Okay, he's that. He loves what he's doing. If you don't like it, you can go home.
Yeah.
But that's Italian. But he's brilliant. Okay. Or like Professor Curie. Professor Curie was nearly banned when he started, doing bone plates, doing thin little bone transplantation, building a container for implants. Everybody said, oh, no, you have to take a full block and that's all rubbish and it will not work. And he was showing beautiful cases for 20, 30 years and master of it. Okay. What a person, because I was trained actually by Curie, and then I invented the Maxcraft Cortico, which is allograft bone plates, where you can also do a biological container, but without taking out bone from the lower jaw, readomer region, with less risk, less complication, with a safe material, and that really went through the roof because Bodis produced it, and then Straumann bought it. They went through the roof, and still that he said, okay, I hate you for this, but it's a good technique. Okay, so that's people who have a certain greatness, okay, where you feel that they love what they're doing and they're only doing that. They're not doing, we have 2, 3, 5 different methods. So no, in this case, I will do this. I use that material. I have 4 or 5 different composite materials. Say, oh, no way. If you're really good, you just need one knife. You don't need a Teflon knife and 2 scalpels or 3, whatever. You don't. The good ones don't. And then you can see who is good. But you have to look over the frontiers. You have to look at Italy, you have to look at France, you have to look outside Europe to the US, But the same is it, COI deprogrammer. A long time, all the US people thought, okay, COI was the only one who's doing deprogramming with deprogrammer. That is not true at all. There's a Chechen guy who's done it before COI. Okay. So he didn't really invent it, he modified it. So nothing came up, like fall from heaven. So we have to look outside our boundaries, and that's what actually we don't do. But that's what we should do. Actually, that's why DSD became so important. Okay, because it's outside the boundaries. It's not just well-fit clinic. It's just Austin, and it's not just US. And the good thing about DSD, when all the key opinion leaders meet and the DSD clinics, that you get people from Europe and US, and you see different how different the judgment is. It's just amazing when they say they do this. I say, oh my God, I would never do this. How can you do this? But he's successful. That's in the US way. That's fine. Okay. But it's different.
Yeah, and different's good. It's not just the education, right? It's the continuing education that you get being surrounded by those people. And it sounds like you've created this network for yourself of the best in the fields of their fields. And so I think a good point to make on this is not just, go to a CE or go to a course of a lesson or anything and learn one subject. It's go there, learn it from the best, and then connect with these people, because in time, maybe you invent something or develop something, reinvent the wheel, and you have those people surrounding you that have done it already, right? And so it seems like it's complemented a lot in the clinical skills that you have today. Would you say so?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, and the thing in the US is also that US is very commercial. It's about CE, it's about what it costs, it's about the COI Institute. It has to be an institute, and it's all good because it comes from that institute. If you go to Pennsylvania, it's all good. It's not good. They have some very good endodontists, but they have a lot of rubbish also in their university. Okay, so it's not all good. uh, uh, we have a lot of people that are flying in from the US who have been treated not in a good way because the US, they does this, and when this is done, we can't do anything more. Go away, okay? Go somewhere else. Go to a specialist, okay? Because they always afraid, the US system is always, you're afraid of getting sued. So you always do dancing through the protocol, not because it's good protocol, because of not getting sued.
Right.
So that makes it stupid. Okay, so a lot of Americans come to our country because we teach it differently, because we are not sued, of course, and it's of course cheaper with also with the flight. But that's the US becomes very commercial. That's when all these lectures in the implant business, for example, when we did all these lectures, also there were US lectures from Dentistry, and they were coming in. All the European lectures were flying business class to the US. US lecturers, of course, flying first class to Europe. Okay, why is that? Okay. Second thing is, when there's a US lecture, what he does is, first of all, he said you're not allowed to film anything, whatever. Okay. And then after the lecture, he will sell you his DVD or whatever. You can buy my movie for my financial background.
Right.
Stuff like that. Okay. A European would say, you're free, steal with your eyes. Okay. Because I'm good. If you want something more, you will come back to me, because I know I'm good, and you will learn from me, and I'm happy to show you. Okay. That is more European style. That's why I like about if people share knowledge and not say, every little tiny bit, I will be rich on it. Okay. It's a lot of money talk in the US dental business.
Absolutely. I think DSD is, because we're founded from Brazilians and Spanish people, and so the same culture is there, where it's just share the knowledge and grow together. And I think that's a big part of the community that we represent.
You trust it because it's not for the money. You just believe the people love what they do. It's like if you go to DSD lab, whatever they do, whatever, they just love what they do. They love what they do. That makes a community, and that's why you follow that, and you say, okay, whatever mistakes, whatever we can do, this is swarm intelligence. We will grow together. Whatever, how bad natural restorations were or good they were. From not so good, for example, for all on four, from not so good to the perfect all on four dentures I had. Okay, now we went a big way. We have to work together. That's a good thing about it. The people work together, and they change, and they invest in it, and you believe them. And that's different to just go to institute because I get CE and I pay $2,000. Okay, and it's very famous institute, and now I'm good. No, you're not.
Absolutely. I completely agree. We're getting close to the end of our time. I want to ask you one more question. We have a question from a previous guest that is going to be asked to you, and then I'll ask the same from you. So, Jan, from our previous guest, they want to know, what do you see as an absolute top 3 benefit that you get from being a DSD clinic that you don't get from other companies? So what are the top 3 benefits that you receive as a DSD clinic that you don't see in other companies around the world?
Okay. Number one, number one, total number one is that you have a network of clinicians um, in a sort of a family surrounding, which are willing to share in an honesty that is not normal among dentists. Um, every knowledge they have and ask any questions you have, and even be willing to invite you wherever you visit them. They will take you to the home. You can, of course, stay with them. You can, of course, see the clinic, and they're proud of it and they're happy to share you. That family is great. And then it's a family of really grand practitioners, which are so good, where you can learn so much from them. And you have the international specialists sticking together like a family, being honest. And you have like a day I can write in any chat and I will get an answer the next day. Okay. And they share their protocol and all the secrets, unpayable. Nobody has that. And that's why I also told DC that is the value. That's the biggest value on it. Yeah. Okay. Last in the past time you said at 2 o'clock at night at the bar, that's where you get the honest answers. You know, not on the congress. Okay. Totally drunk 2 o'clock. Then you can ask somebody. That is so great. And that's why I said the community that has to be taken care of. Because if you lose that, DSD is gone. That is the magic body, the magic number one about DSD. Okay. That is far better than anything else. Number second is that if you look at, despite that getting better, but if you look at being bought by Strom and all that, Smilefly and all the other competitors, you get a lot of STL data and all that aesthetic. But of course, you have not the support that you actually have an interdisciplinary approach from people who actually have a knowledge on that. Okay, so with DSD, I could have the design, but I could have the knowledge from a renowned speaker on orthodontist, and I'd say, "Come on, what I can do about this? Okay, how to resolve it?" So I actually have a real interdisciplinary, a worldwide interdisciplinary approach. Unbelievable. Okay. All the others just give you STL data and do something with it. Okay. You can download it, you can print it yourself. That's it. Okay. They have some fancy things that I find very important, which DSD should change, but they don't have that. Okay. They just give you a product you pay for, but they don't give you the medical aspect of it, the doctor aspect of it, the interdisciplinary work of it. Okay. It doesn't give you that. That is the main difference. And that makes DSD different. That should be taken care of also. Third, of course, is that you know the people you're treating with. Okay, so if I have a problem, it's like I call my technician. If I call Angelo, it's like if I call my uncle and say, "Hey, Uncle Angelo, okay, I have a problem. Okay, please help me," and he will help me. You know, that's how can you do that? Okay. The other companies just give you, say, a product. You don't even know who. Okay, somebody's designing that crap, some cat designers designing that, and you just download it, and then you write a message, you get an answer from, I don't know, a secretary or whoever that is. I don't know his profession, maybe a doctor, maybe he never worked, maybe he's a very, very bad one. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, so you actually know the people, and it's like DSD would be, you get the feeling, despite there are 120 clinics, whatever, you get the feeling that is your lab, and it's your doctor, and it's your surgeon that's helping you, you know, it's being talk, or it's your orthodontist, okay, and he will help you to it, okay, it's like, it's at a fingertip. You have your dental network, which is not in your country, but it's like they would be in the neighborhood,
Right.
and that is just perfect.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I'm on the outskirts of it all. I'm not, practicing and working in that regard with DSD, but I see it all the time, not just with you, but every single DSD clinic. I can say pretty much feels the same way, right? I hear it all the time, and so it's wonderful that you put in such great words. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, I know that you're traveling and you're with your team right now, so we really appreciate you taking this moment to speak with us and share your
Sure.
story.
My pleasure. Thanks, so much.